Welcome back. I'm just happy to be back. Had to take a week off last week for the show, but you guys did amazingly well. Remember, MMA Mobsters is brought to you by cellsaviors.org, dimene.com, and also grapplersclash.com. Check all those sites out. The best supplements, the best grappling matches you can find. You can search for them, match yourself to somebody anywhere in the country and have a match against somebody, and then also Dimene Clothing. And of course, I'm joined by the best in the business, the Chauvin one, Joshua Chauvin. And you got some pretty good results from last week while I was gone. Apparently, I'm not your good luck charm.
Oh, you are still my good luck charm, buddy, and it is very good to see you face to face after, I believe, 3 weeks. Yeah, it's been an eventful adventure. MMA Mobster seems to be on tour. I certainly think it's possible as we grow in popularity that me and Pat may hit the road together in a year or two and come to, I don't know, a sports bar or an amphitheater near you and do our entertaining show and our best in the world predictions. But this summer, you never know where we're going to be. Obviously, Pat has his finger in about 18 different businesses and things that very cool things that he's doing. So he's all over the country, and I'm just going to wherever will give me Wi-Fi and a room to yell in. So here I am at a local library that actually has a soundproof room. I tested the soundproof capabilities. So you know what, Pat, we're coming off possibly our best financial success of a card of the year. I will say it wasn't our most entertaining show because you weren't there with your legendary stories and witty humor, but it was a great show as far as money making. So let's keep the freaking momentum going over there because we could all use some more money, right, man?
Well, I mean, if you couldn't tell the state that I live in, technically, the online gambling, sports gambling, betting is not allowed. So technically, I'm living out of my truck in a nondescript area of the Midwest. No, really, I'm just driving back from Florida on my way back and just stopped here to do the show. So I apologize about my surroundings, and you'll probably hear semis going past me soon. But anyway, talk about last week. Go ahead and bring up some fights from last week, Josh, and some of the action, and I'll comment, of course, on any of the action or fights that you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, and I'll get this out of the way real quick before we get into the fights. I have got about 15 DMs of people asking me how I'm doing, and I'm smart about it, Pat. I say, actually, there are some big announcements to make, but watch MMA Mobsters on Friday and you'll find out. So I'm getting us a few more views that way. So I'll get that out of the way now. I am blessed. I am going to be okay, but I do have another surgery Monday. This is kind of out of nowhere. I never had my wisdom teeth removed as a kid. For whatever reason. So, of course, when I'm in the most vulnerable position of my life with two shattered feet, one of my wisdom tooth starts out of control pain. If any of you have ever had tooth pain or had to have a tooth removed, you understand they say it's worse than pregnancy. It was certainly a worse pain than when I shattered both my feet. So just keep me in your thoughts and prayers and good vibes and whatever. I do have another surgery Monday. I'm having this tooth yanked out of my mouth. That'll give me some relief. I did have to go to the emergency room a few days ago because the pain was so bad, and they shoved a needle about this long in my mouth and shot me full of Novocaine, and it didn't really work, but I am a little better now. I am on some medication. I am on an antibiotic that's clearing that infection up, but the tooth has still got to go. So apparently surgeries come in threes because this will be my third one. Those of you who don't know me well are probably thinking, man, how much attention does this Chauvin guy need? Those of you who do know me well understand that this is the most stressful, trying period of my life, but this show is one of the many things that helps me get through it. And in closing, I will say that I lost a dear friend to me this week. I'll keep it pretty private, but I will always love you, and you will always have a profound impact on my life. So I will close with that, and we can get into some fights. Yourself, buddy.
We'll talk about your tooth and stuff like that after the show, and the infection. So, but anyway, break down a little bit about last week for me, some of the matchups, and let me know how well you did, because I think I've heard how well you did. But you don't have to divulge the monetary gains that you made. But talk about the fights. Talk about the fights, how they went, and what your thoughts are.
I don't care about telling you the exact amount. I'll tell you, I made $4,978.77 was the amount of money that I made on Friday night.
Good
That
work.
was anchored. Thank you, brother. Thank you. That means a lot. And it was anchored by my most confident picks on the show. Just maybe, what was it, Lee? Like 7 hours before the fight started, we did the show, and it was anchored by all the picks that I liked. I loved Gable Stevenson wins in the first round. I swear, nothing comes easy in this game. Gable Stevenson had to find himself a little bit. A lot happened in those first 2 minutes. I think Gable Stevenson grew up a lot in those first 2 minutes. That Elisha kid, who was like a plus 1,200 dog that no one, including me, was given any respect to, touched up Gable a couple times, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But then there was something that happened. There was a groin strike, and that changed the entire fight. They gave him a few seconds, let him recover, and then Gable Stevenson just lamped him. This kid's got some striking, man, and I understand Elisha Stevenson is one of the worst UFC heavyweights. They gift wrapped his first fight, but with the flying hammer of Thor, hammer fist, a la Dan Henderson, Michael Bisping, that was incredible. Did you get to watch that fight or see replays? Because you told me on this show, Gable Stevenson will be UFC heavyweight champion within 2 years. After that fight, I'm much more inclined to believe you.
Talk a little bit more about the rest of the card. I want to talk about the main card. I keyed in pretty hard on all of that. And there was some pretty good action leading up to, the main event.
Yeah, what fight do you want to talk about?
You just run me right up the ladder, brother.
Okay. I believe the first fight on the card was Bobby Keane Green against Terrence McKinney. I could not have predicted that fight any better. I said if Bobby Keane Green survives the first 3 minutes, he will beat Terrence McKinney. That's just the book on Terrence McKinney. He's about the best fighter in the division for the first 3 minutes, and then he absolutely turns into a F- fighter. That's what happened. And you'll like this, Pat. Not only the sports books have kind of gotten smart, and they've figured out even if Terrence McKinney kicks the guy's ass, if it goes to a second round, they'll make the other guy the favorite. The sports books aren't dumb. They know that Terrence McKinney can't win when he gets out of the first round. So I hit Bobby Green as he was on the ground with Terrence McKinney's arms around his neck. I got him at like plus 400 live because we had gone past the coveted 3 minute mark. And Terrence McKinney has not won a fight in the UFC past the 3 minute mark of the first round. So that was good. And then I got one story for you that I think you're going to like if you can hear me. So with a minute left in the fight, you know who else knows this information? Good old Bobby Green, the veteran. So Bobby Green is sitting there with Terrence McKinney's arms around his neck, and he kind of sticks his arm up in there, and then he goes, 1 minute, bitch. Your dumbass ain't never won a fight. Let's go on to the second round. Little pussy bitch. Little pussy bitch. What you gonna do, bitch? 30 seconds, bitch. You got 30 seconds, bitch. You don't finish me, I'm gonna fucking kill your ass. Gets up, lamps him, fight over, 1 second left. I'm doing wheelies in my wheelchair, Pat Militech. What do you think about that?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
I can. Yeah,
beautiful.
go ahead.
No, I was watching that fight and watching Bobby Green survive and going, Terrence McKinney's in trouble here. Terrence McKinney is in trouble. And that was beautiful. So, okay, I'm happy for Bobby. I'm happy he won the fight. Old bull versus young bull. Really, really good stuff. So, okay, moving on to the next fight. And I would have this pulled up right now, Josh, but because I'm in my truck and
You're good.
traveling, I
You're good.
don't have the card
You're
pulled
good.
up. So by all means, help me get
Pat
through.
Militech, I have been broadcasting from a car the past 2 weeks. You are totally good, buddy. I'll go next to Brandon Royval, Lawner Kavanaugh. Man, I'm a little pissed at Kavanaugh. He kept me from having more like a $6,000 night because I did have some money on him. He lost the first round. What I said about Royval, obviously you weren't here, Pat, so I'll kind of refresh. He's really good, man, and he beat Moreno, but Moreno seems to be falling off a little bit. But going down to Mexico City on short notice and beating Brandon Moreno, no joke, and we predicted that. He's more of a go-to-decision guy, but I said don't count Brandon Royval out because losing to Manel Kopp is not a blemish on your record. Manel Kopp just went out and lamped Horiguchi, who looks great. So I said, be careful betting this fight. But I did have a few hundred on Kavanaugh, and I had a few hundred on fight goes to decision. Brandon Royval chokes him out with about 2 minutes left. There go both my bets. That kept me from making Elon Musk kind of money. So do you want to talk about the one bad fight on the main card, or can we move on to the good stuff?
No, that's fine. I love Royval. I was really happy for him, and
Good.
I certainly was hoping he was going to win. And he looked good, man. He has matured from the babyface
He
kid
really has.
the babyface kid that I used to call his fights. I mean, he's a man now. That boy, and he fights. He's very smart, very talented, very well rounded, and very dangerous. Like that guy's capable of winning any fight.
I love it. Let's get to the next fight and shout out line movement. And I talked about this. I enjoyed talking about this with David. We had Corey Sandhagen, Mario Bautista. Corey Sandhagen only loses to the best in the world. He really only loses when he gets a title shot. He beats everyone, gets a title shot, loses.
Yeah.
Lost to Umar Nurmagomedov, lost to Aljamain Sterling, lost to Petr Yan, lost to Merab Dvalishvili, the GOAT, before Jan beat him. So I was like, Mario Bautista is good, but he's not on those guys' level. He barely squeaked by Jose Aldo, mainly by holding him up against the fence. But you know, Pat, I talk about how a guy will lose and impress me more than a guy who wins. Mario Bautista went toe for Nurmagomedov, and if it wouldn't have been for Nurmagomedov just kind of laying on him and doing nothing, I thought he was damn close to winning that fight. So this is line movement. Corey Sandhagen opens up at minus 200. He goes down to like minus 140, and Bautista's plus 110. I said, I don't get the line movement, David, but I have to follow it. Sure enough, Sandhagen came into this a little bit gimpy, blew out his leg in the first round, and Mario Bautista took over. So shout out line movement on that one. This is really, we're getting close to insider trading, and I won't get in any trouble because I don't have Corey Sandhagen or any of his friends sending me information that he's hurt, but I do know how to follow line movement. So this is really, it's like legal insider information. I cannot preach more. Line movement matters more in MMA betting than any other sport. Watch the line movement, watch this show. Listen to me. It's been proven over and over. Line movement does it again. Bautista wins by decision.
Beautiful. So I guess ultimately the big story on top of you making money, the big story is Conor McGregor, was he hurt before the fight or not? What are your thoughts?
To me, and I don't mean this in a rude or arrogant way, to me, it's who cares? Because Max was going to beat that ass anyway. I didn't see any possible path to victory for Conor McGregor. This is a guy who has not been fighting. He has not been training. He's been making headlines for all the wrong reasons. And this whole, for the past 2 months, I've been sleeping in me gym. That's the worst Irish accent ever. But who cares if you've been sleeping in your gym for the past 2 months, Connor? Like, you can't just erase 10 years of the damage you've done to your body. And I'm sorry, Max Holloway is still a fucking fighter. Max Holloway fights every few months. He comes in, win or lose. He fights the best of the best. Conor McGregor sits on his couch and does God knows what. He's not fighting the best of the best. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a letdown, but I will say this, and I'll throw it to you, Pat. Going into that fight, I had a lot of money on that fight. If Conor somehow magically wins, I lose $2,000. If Max wins, I make $5,000. I have never been more confident and at peace going into a fight with so much money on the line. I was like, Max has already won this. If Conor wins, I don't know. I mean, whatever. But I have never been more confident. And sure enough, 10 seconds in, the fight was over.
Yeah, Max physically and mentally looked like he was definitely ready. He wanted the revenge. He had the revenge factor from the loss 13 years ago. There was so much riding on it for him. Every reason to win that fight. And Conor, $100 million payday or whatever it was against Mayweather has never been the same since. And that's just the way it is, right? So
weren't you involved in the broadcast team for that mega
Mayweather,
fight?
yeah, the Mayweather-McGregor fight. Yeah, I was with Showtime for that. So that was pretty interesting and exciting. It was fun. But for Max, I feel bad for Max because he didn't get his opportunity to actually legitimately beat Conor McGregor. So I feel bad for him. I don't know how much money he made. for 10 seconds, but God bless him for making it.
I have two questions for you, Pat. Well, I guess the first is more of a statement, and again, this is just joking with you as we do every show. I don't feel bad for Max because he's going to get a trilogy and he's going to make 20 million more or whatever to fight Connor for the third time. They're already talking trilogy, and I guess I'll throw a question back to you, Pat. As a coach, as a manager, as someone who's helped run a promotion, you've worn so many hats. Do you make the trilogy, or are the fans so torch and axes you just have Connor fight Chandler? Hopefully, that's a fight he can maybe win. Do you dare make the trilogy with Max? Because if it ends poorly again, people are going to freaking riot.
What happened to Connor's knee? Did he actually tear his ACL? What is the diagnosis?
His diagnosis was on Twitter. I ripped my fucking knee to shreds with that first kick. Shreds. Sorry, that was his answer.
It looked like his ACL at minimum tore, which is a year minimum rehab to be able to come back. So I don't count on that fight happening. I really don't. Max will probably still be around, but I just don't think Connor. I don't know how much of a reason does he have to come back. I don't know. Maybe he'll be driven, whatever, and find that new inspiration because of the injury. But I mean, we've got a lot of fights to cover until that shit even remotely has a chance of happening, right?
I agree. And one last question, then let's get into this week's fights. For Max Holloway, you understand his point of view like few people will. Let's say this happened to the great Pat Miletich in his prime. You put all of that into a camp. You knew it would be probably the biggest fight of your life, and it's no challenge. The fight's over in a few seconds. Are you going back to Bettendorf and saying, hey, Jens, hey, Sylvia, hey, Robbie, I got to fight somebody. You know, I got a lot of energy to get out. How do you deal with that, getting yourself so hyped up and so ready, and then it's not needed?
Well, you got to recover not only from the camp and the ramp up to the camp and then the backside, the letdown, whether the fight happens or not. It's always a roller coaster, bipolar existence for an athlete, especially, you know, a sport as intense as MMA. So he's got to decompress. He's got to let his body rest no matter what, even though he didn't fight. There's psychological decompression. There's a lot of stuff going on with that, and the letdown from not getting that fight. And then how do you ramp back up mentally for another fight that's just not as big? You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on there.
Agree.
So I think Max should take time off, rest, and yeah, I mean, it's not that he has to recover physically, but that roller coaster is still there. So he needs to do a reset, whatever that is.
And then I'll go with this, and then let's get into the fights for this week. We only have one main card fight left. Speak briefly on Patty as an underdog. Patty loves being an underdog as like a plus 140 underdog. That was another one where the line movement went in his favor. Patty chokes out the very dangerous Benoit Saint-Denis in about 60 seconds. What were your thoughts on that, buddy?
Dude, that was beautiful. That choke was absolutely genius, spectacular.
So technical.
I and I like Patty. I do. I like Patty. I don't always pick him to win, of course. We picked Justin Gaethje over him in their fight, but Patty's a very good fighter, and that was a spectacularly just a genius choke. So good for him, man. Good for him.
I agree. We're going to try to do our first 45-minute episode of MMA Mobsters ever. Pat, I'm ready to get in the fights if you are, brother.
All right. So we'll start. I noticed there's a lot of people at the beginning of the card with, the 5-0 type records, 6-1, inexperienced folks coming in on the undercard on this one. And as we move up, there's some pretty solid names on here, some pretty talented athletes. So it's a pretty good mix this time. But starting out with Damian Anderson against Ezra Elliott, both undefeated, 5-0 and 7-0 coming into the UFC. How do you see this one going down, brother?
Yeah, this is a weird card, Pat, and I don't mind being honest and transparent. I know more about this sport than just about anyone. And out of the first 8 fighters on this card. I hadn't heard of 5 of them. So this happens coming off a massive card. We get a watered down card, but the main event's great. So yeah, not much info or tape on Damian Anderson or Urza Elliott, but Damian Anderson, the line has shifted against him. He opened up at minus 170. He's minus 120 now. I love Ezra Elliott. I wish I knew more about him, and I did try to find some fight tape, and there wasn't many options. But give me half a unit on Ezra Elliott at plus 114. The line has shifted in his favor. Let's start the card off with a little line mover, a little half unit on plus money. Plus money did very well for us last week. Patty Pimblett won at plus money. Mario Bautista won at plus money. Bobby King Green won at plus money. And then there was another guy early on the card who won at plus money too. So let's keep the plus money bets going.
Finishes, except maybe one fight between them. I'm trying to remember. But quality of opponents, bro. From a 1 to a 10, 10 being the hardest. These guys are at about a 2, both of them. Quality of opponent. So they for
You're
me,
right.
they've never really been tested against anybody of quality, of course, early in their careers. Totally speculation, ultimately, between the two of them. So I'll look, just because Elliott's 7-0 and Anderson's 5-0, I'll give you Elliott, whatever.
Yep. So we both lean Elliott there. Next fight, brother.
Yeah. Barbosa against Milosano, and Anna Milosano 6-1 overall. Barbosa 9-4, 3-2 in the UFC. I believe Milosano's making her UFC debut. 2-0 in the KO area, 4-0 for Barbosa in submissions. So I see Barbosa having the edge on the ground. Milosano probably standing up. And last 5 fights, Milosano has been on a bit of a tear, 5-0 her last 5 fights. What say you, genius?
I'm getting so tired of betting these freaking women's MMA fights. And it's just with Tracy Cortez had really good line movement last week against Juan Khan and just didn't attempt any takedowns, just kind of stood there and let Juan Khan light her up. So it's hard, but how can you ignore this fight, Pat? Diana Barbosa has moved about 300 freaking points. She's moved from like minus 400 to minus 650. That's massive line movement. We're getting close to doubling your line movement from where you originally started. So, of course, here's what's going to happen probably. Diana Barbosa is going to have massive line movement, and she'll fight to a close split decision win and barely win. That seems to be what happens. But it's hard to ignore the line movement. You pointed out some certainly areas of advantage for Diana Barbosa. She's widely my pick. I'm just going to put 1 unit on it because it's women's MMA, and that's no offense to these women warriors. They just tend to fight closer fights, so as a sports bettor, I have to be responsible. Give me, you know what? F it. Give me 1.5 units on Diana Barbosa. Don't let me down.
All right. Now, I'm looking at again, Milosano last 5 fights, 5-0, but the quality of opponents from 1 to 10, she's about a 3. Barbosa at about a 5. So quality of opponents is a little tougher for Barbosa. So I'll even give you Barbosa on that one. I'll give you Barbosa.
All right.
And then
All right.
moving on to
Okay.
Hines and Harris. Hines 0-1 in the UFC, 5-0 though in LFA, and then Harris was 2-0 in the LFA. Harris 5-0, Hines 7-1 overall. What's your thoughts on this one? Neither one has faced very tough competition either, so it is what it is. But how do you break these two down?
Yeah, we need to. And Lee, our amazing producer, does so many things that he does out of the kindness of his heart. But I would love to get sound effects in here eventually because this is a 4-digit favorite. It's the free money train, Pat. It is coming to our lives again. I just preached this last week. Gable Stevenson started at like minus 2,400. His line kept going down, and Lee mentioned that. I was like, he's still minus 1,200. He's still free money because I said it last week. I'll say it again. Every single time, except for 2 times in the past 10 years, that a male UFC favorite who has hit the 4-digit category that is not minus 900, that is not minus 600, that is minus 1,000 or higher. he always wins. It has not worked twice. So eventually, I hope Pat and I do this show forever, but eventually a minus 4 digit favorite will lose and I will be very sad the next week. Could it happen this week? Maybe. I don't think Alden Correa is some future champion. I don't think he's a killer. He is right at that minus 1100, minus 1000 mark. So I have to bet a good amount of money on him. But I'm not going to go nuts like I did with Gable Stevenson because I just don't believe in Corey as much. But again, what does the math say, Pat? Over the past 10 freaking years, we have had over 100 minus 1,000 or higher male UFC favorites, and every time but twice, they have thumped. They have won. How can you not love Corey here?
You know, in that Stuart Nickel is 0-3 in the UFC. Can't seem to find his way. Are they trying to build Curry up, at 2-0 in the UFC, 12-3
Yes.
overall? More than likely, of course. So yeah, I'll roll with you on that for sure. And then we're seeing eye to eye on most everything here. Felipe Franco versus Rodriguez. Rodriguez is 3-0 in the LFA, making his UFC debut, and Franco at 0-1 in the UFC, 10-2 overall. I mean, he's got the experience. He's been in the UFC. He's lost his debut. Dude, this is what I wrote down for the quality of opponents for both of these guys.
Oh, this will be good. This will be good.
I wrote down a -2 for Franco and a -1 for Rodriguez. Therefore, I give Rodriguez the edge.
I didn't realize that your ratings went into the negatives.
They go negative, bro. On this one, they go negative. Quality of opponent. So I'd like to hear if you pick Rodriguez as well, because
I did.
What's that?
I did not, Pat. I did not, because when I can't get much info or experience on the fighters, I really blindly trust line movement. And I'm looking at Rodriguez. He opened up at minus 180. He's minus 150 now. So give me a lean on Felipe Franco. I don't even know that I'll bet this fight. If I do, it'll just be automatically $100 on the plus money guy. But I'm not taking a strong position on Felipe Franco, but I like his line movement.
How dare you disrespect me on this one?
I know. You're gonna have to come find me.
His quality of opponents is a -2, bro. It's a -2.
I know.
Holy shit!
I have to trust the line, and we are moving along at record rate. I wanted to ask you one question because I want to get one story out of your show. Going back to our minus 1,000 Alden Correa and the 0-3 Stuart Nikolai, you're exactly right. It seems like they are sacrificing Nikolai to up Correa. You can either tell me the answer for both or just one. Let's say you're coaching both of these guys in different scenarios. What would you say to the minus 1,000 guy who's facing a guy he's supposed to crush? And what would you say to the 0-3 guy who's there to lose? How do you hype up or calm down either of those fighters as a coach?
Well, I think for Franco being 0-1 in the UFC, I'm saying either way, it's always you go in with a positive mindset. But
how do you get them in that positive mindset? Tell them how cool they are or how awesome?
Well, it's more like, it's interesting because you're kind of saying the same thing about your athlete. You just don't want him to know that. But it's, hey, this guy's never faced anybody that didn't have bracelets on his legs, when he came to the ring. And so he's never faced anyone like you, bro. He's never, ever faced anyone like you. That sort of, pump him up, whatever. But no, it's, dude, yeah. So anyway.
I love that.
I don't know how the fuck pardon my French. I don't know how they're signing these guys. I just don't. I don't think that they're bad fighters. I just think they haven't earned their stripes. They really, Rodriguez got into the LFA at 2-0, went 3-0 in the LFA, and then he's in the UFC, just like that. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying it just seems like athletes aren't earning their stripes to get to that level anymore. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, moving on.
I agree.
So my chicken scratch, Lebens Gayani.
Sure.
Can you say that out loud for me? Because Lebes Nagai
Lebes
Noyani Lebes Noyani.
Lebosoyani.
Sorry, I chicken scratched the shit out of that name.
No, it was hard. It was hard for me too. I had to
And
look at it for a second.
then he's facing Suck on Co. Right?
There's no way that's how you pronounce his name.
Suck on Co.
Oh my God.
I know that's not how it's
And
pronounced, but I have to
speaking of
pronounce it
which,
that way.
did you see your boy Damian Pinas, or as you pronounce it, Penis, absolutely knocked the fuck out of Cesar Ferreira last week? Your boy Penis got it done this week.
Yeah. So, all right, going back to the fight. Suck on Co. Suk on Co. 2-0 in the UFC against a 1-0 opponent, 10-2, 13-2 overall. Both these guys have faced actually pretty decent opponents.
Yeah, this is a nightmare as far as name goes. We needed a production meeting just for this fight alone. So, yeah, Suk Han Ko, his line movement has been mostly stale. It goes up, it goes down, not by large increments. And Jean-Paul Libasani is nothing world-changing either. I am going to lean the favorite. Seokhan Ko has done some, certainly has the more admirable body of work that I would say. I like fight goes to decision a little bit. I like Seokhan Ko a little bit, but I'm not breaking my bank account on either of those bets. Fair enough?
Yeah, and Sukhan Ko has had a little tougher road to get there. Both guys have had, like I said, decent quality in competition, but Sukhan Ko has had a little tougher road to get there. All right, moving on. Austin Bashi versus Jose Delgado. Delgado 3-1 in the UFC. Bashi, who I called I think it was his pro debut several years ago. I think it might have been in Michigan. I'm trying to remember where it was. Spectacular athlete, very good wrestler, really good striking. He's 14-1 overall. I think he's had a little tougher quality opponents to get to this point. I'd like to hear the odds on this. I didn't do the odds. I didn't look at the odds on any of these before I picked who I thought was going to win. But Bashi's he's a quality kid, man.
We're going to have a little bit of fun here, Pat, because it sounds like you're going to get this right. If you are the odds maker, who are you making the favorite and how big of a favorite? Because I think that you're going to get this exactly right.
Well, I think,
or close.
Look, Jose Delgado being 3-1 in the UFC, I mean, he's got the experience, he's got a track record there, so you really can't discredit him. Do I think that the odds makers could have possibly made Delgado the favorite? I do. He's ranked 27th in the world. Bashi's ranked 66th.
Yeah.
But I easily could pick Bashi to win this fight, even if he's the underdog.
All right. You get it. You get an A on your answer then. And I know that you have about 15 different jobs that you're doing. Very cool, exciting promotions that you're in ownership in and doing all kinds of cool things. But if you have some free time, you should talk to a sports book about being the guy who sets the lines, because you fucking crushed this one, buddy. It's a pick'em. It's a complete toss-up. Some sports books have Bashi as the favorite. Some have Delgado as the favorite. Some have them both at -110. So you crushed it on that one. I'm going to lean Bashi because he's more of the prospect, but there is no line movement to look at on this fight. Neither guy has moved more than a few points. So I'm going to lean Bashi, and good job getting the odds exactly correct. You nailed it.
Hey, beautiful. And I just think it's not like Delgado's just going to come out and out-wrestle Bashi. Bashi, I think, can pick where the fight goes on, and Bashi has some really, really good striking as well. Really, really tough kid at 14-1. So, yeah. And he's a likable guy. He comes from a really good family, tough kid. And so, yeah, look for Austin Bashi to do well in this one. So, all right, moving on to Tommy McMillan versus Alberto Montez. Both guys 1-0 in the UFC. Only one loss between them. Montez at 11-1. Tommy McMillan at 10-0. What say you, Oracle?
Woof, this kid likes to run his mouth, this Tommy McMillan. We may very well have another Josh Hokett situation on our hands, Pat, because this Tommy McMillan fucker talked all the crap in the world and then came out and absolutely lamped his opponent in the first few minutes. So it does seem to be shades of Josh Hokett, not only someone who can talk a bunch of crap but back it up. And the line movement has respected Mr. McMillan. He opened up at minus 102. He's minus 160 now. Listen, folks, there is a very small chance that I make $4,900 on this card again, because even if I win every freaking bet that I make, I still won't have enough money down to make that kind of crazy money. This might be my favorite bet of the entire card, and even then, I'm kind of clenching my butthole a little bit because it makes me nervous. Give me 2 units, maybe even 2.5 on Tommy McMillan. I see the path to victory. He will most likely finish his opponent, quite possibly in the first round. So I like Tommy McMillan. I like Tommy McMillan by finish. The UFC knows what they're doing. They got a kid they can turn into at least a semi-star, if not a superstar. They're going to give him winnable fights and build him up like a Chase Hooper or a Bo Nickel or a Josh Hokett until he's ready for a big name in 4 or 5 fights. So I'm going to hook my rope to the Tommy McMillan train and ride out some free money on the next few fights.
I mean, I lean a little bit towards Tommy McMillan. I agree with you on that. Montez is a bit of a test, a step up for him. The quality of opponents a little higher for McMillan along the way. Kind of, I give him the edge in that category, and of course he's undefeated, very confident kid, and so yeah, I'll lean a bit with you on McMillan. So this is, in my opinion, he passes this test. He's moving up in the world, certainly.
I like it.
Yeah, in quality of competition. So okay. Moving on, Tabitha Ritchie against Fatima Klein. This is an interesting one. Ritchie at 7-4 in the UFC, 3-1 for Klein. Klein's 9-1. She's tough. Not as good quality of opponents overall, but still fairly decent. And she's got, 4 knockouts to her credit as well. I don't know. This is a tough fight for Ritchie, don't you think?
It is, and once again, kudos to you, Pat Militech, for pretty much predicting the line movement without even looking at it. Fatima Klein is a heavy favorite. Oh, great. We have another heavy female MMA favorite on this card. Opens up at minus 400. Sharp money has driven her to about minus 490. So, as usual, without even looking, you're right in step with the line and the way it's going. As I said earlier in the card, you just have to tread a little carefully with these female fighters. Fatima Klein should cruise, probably only going to be a unit for me, but I certainly see the path to Fatima Klein cruising. If you really want to bet this fight, I would take her to win by decision. That would shrink your odds quite a bit. So that's that.
Okay. Well, and, I think the UFC would love to promote Tabitha Ritchie a lot. She kind of, that. Let's not lie about this. I mean, people that have the look, people that have the ability to fight, all those different things, marketability, they would love to be able to promote Tabitha Ritchie. Fatima Klein, I definitely give her the edge in this one. And like I said, I didn't look at the odds. So, yeah, we both agree on Klein. Coming out on top on that one. All right, moving on to Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. Ramirez looking for his first win in the UFC at 8-3 overall, 0-2 in the UFC. Chase Hooper at 8-5 in the UFC. Little tougher quality of opponents. What are your thoughts?
I swear, any fucking time I've bet Chase Hooper, he's lost. I mean, the guy is as close to my kryptonite. I would be Elon. I would have Elon Musk money if it wasn't for Chase Hooper. I mean, the guy is constantly, he does this, and I don't know why sharp bettors, which I guess I would consider my colleagues. There's a lot of guys smarter than me, but I understand the inner workings of this business. So, I mean, I had him against Alex Caceres back in 2020, and he got absolutely lit up. I don't think he took Caceres down once. He isn't a great takedown threat. It's just if the fight somehow gets to the ground, he dominates. But he's not Mackenzie Dern ran into this too a lot earlier in her career. He's not good at getting the fight to the ground, and he has just good enough striking that he'll try to use it, and he gets knocked the F out every time. I had a pretty big bet on him when he was fighting Anthony the Great Hernandez. I watched a minute of that fight. Keep in mind, Chase Hooper's like a minus 500 favorite. He has like an 8-inch reach advantage, and Alexander Hernandez, who has his own issues, was lighting him up. A minute into the fight, I hammered Alexander Hernandez at like plus, he was still plus 300. Whoever was running the sportsbook that day for MMA had not caught on to the fight that Chase Hooper did not look. I could tell in the first 60 seconds this was an awful bet. So I was able to get out of it and not only get my money back, but make some. Sure enough, 2 minutes later, Hernandez absolutely sends him into the shadow realm. I don't know what to do with Hooper, man. You got to come out of retirement and coach this kid because he has all the talent in the world. But when he gets in there, it's like a settings thing. It's like, oh, do I jujitsu? Do I strike? Do I just stand here and let him knock me out? He drives me crazy, but he has all the talent in the world. So,
but here's what you're gonna do. I can feel it. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna bet on Chase Hooper.
I am.
Reluctantly, you're gonna bet on Chase Hooper, and Ramirez is gonna pull out the upset.
That's what's. And why haven't, what I was trying to say earlier about my colleagues, why haven't my colleagues figured this out? Why do we hammer Chase Hooper every single time he fights? I don't think a Chase Hooper line has gone down in history. They always go up and he loses half the time. So I don't know, man. What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, Ramirez is 0-2 in the UFC, 8-3 overall. I mean, he's a good fighter. He's tough. His quality of opponents are about a 5. Chase Hooper has faced tougher people. Honestly, I think Hooper's going to win the fight. Would I bet on it? I don't know. Probably not. I probably wouldn't. I just, I don't get great vibes from Hooper. So anyway, all right. So good luck to you on that one. I've got 15% battery on my phone, so I'm in a little bit of trouble.
We only got 2 fights left. Let's go. Let's go.
Moving on to C. Duncan against Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier, I've always liked. He's got 20 fights in the UFC. He's 11-9 against Duncan, who's 7-2 in the UFC. Number 13 ranked Cannonier versus number 19 ranked Duncan. Duncan 14-2, got 10 KOs, never been KO'd, never been finished. Cannonier's got his hands full on this one, buddy.
Pat, it's interesting, and I'm sure that you would agree with this. There are exact moments in our lives that change our entire lives. One for me, or even both of us, was we met on, I think, a night in July in 2022 at Bulldog Arms. That certainly changed our lives. And for Jared Cannonier, he was fighting Nasruddin Imavov. He easily won the first 2 rounds of that fight, almost finished Imavov. It was a main event, so a 5-round fight. And at some point in the 4th round, Cannonier is cruising. At some point in the 4th round, it's like his body shot off, and Imavov touched him really for the first time in the fight. Cannonier was dominating Imavov. Imavov touched him. Cannonier was like, what the frick was that? And then a minute later, Imavov had him out cold. It was a little bit of an early stoppage, but Cannonier's career took a nosedive after that. Imavov's career, he hasn't lost since. So we saw something happen with Cannonier in that fight. Michael Venom Page, who is about to get cut from the UFC for being so boring, Michael Venom Page knocked him down, didn't finish him, but looked very good. Cannonier is a wonderful fighter. All the respect in the world. Not quite UFC Hall of Fame, but close. I think he's fought in like 5 different weight classes or something, and so he's very amazing kid. He's on a downswing. Christian Leroy Duncan reminds me of Jared Cannonier 7 years ago. He's on the way up. So this is the fight I kind of love. I hate the Hooper fight. I love this fight. Leroy Duncan is challenging McMillan for my favorite bet on the card. He's probably going to be my favorite bet because he has higher odds. So give me Christian Leroy Duncan all day. I don't think this is an amazing card for making money on. Last week was one of the best cards in history for making money on. Give me Christian Leroy Duncan. Put him in all your parlays. He's going to smash Jared Cannonier. This Leroy Duncan kid, I think I've bet on him in every fight that he's had in the UFC. I love him. He gets better every fight. He's got that big, muscular, athletic body, but he's so fast. He reminds me of like an English Rampage Jackson, where he's got all that power, but he's able to unleash it sometimes and then pull it back sometimes. I love him, and yeah. So give me the English Rampage Jackson to win this fight at minus 360. He's my favorite bet of the card.
I agree with you. Duncan has the edge most certainly in this one. I've always liked Jared Cannonier, but still I have to look at the youth and the upward swing that Duncan's on right now. So I'm agreeing with you on that. All right, main event time: Duplessis versus Usman, number 13 in the world. Duplessis versus number 3, versus number 6. Usman 16-3 in the UFC. Duplessis 9-1. Both guys identical in the KO category, 9-1 in the KO TKO area. Duplessis has racked up 11 submissions, where Usman certainly not as well versed in submissions. That's not his game. What are your thoughts on this main event?
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing when they set the line on this one. Maybe they do need to hire Pat Miletich or Joshua Chilvan to help set their line
right now.
They're fucking ridiculous, Pat. They opened DDP up at like minus 400. Like, Kamaru Usman just ragdolled Joaquin Buckley for 5 rounds. So what is the line doing? I'm glad you asked. The line is now at minus 250. So DDP has gone from minus 400 to minus 250. This is what Usman does, man. He went from fighting all the time. He was like the most active champion ever. Now he trains sometimes. He rests. He waits for the perfect fight with the perfect salary to come along, like he did with Joaquin Buckley about a year ago. He went from fighting every 3 months to only fighting once a year. You do not overlook Kamaru Usman at your peril. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. We just saw DDP get absolutely wrestle-fucked and smothered for 25 minutes by Khamzat Chimaev. Usman's one of the best wrestlers in the world. What are we doing making DDP a minus 400 favorite? I'm going to put at least 1.5 units, if not 2 units, right now on Kamaru Usman at plus 194. I think if you look really hard, you can even get him at plus 200. That's triple your money, Pat. Is this free money from the clouds for the second week in a row, or what? You tell me and then end the show, buddy.
Will Usman even allow the fight to go to the ground until he wears and beats the hell out of Duplessis? Duplessis is very awkward, though. It all depends on how the fighter that's up against him, how they deal with his awkwardness. That's the thing. So, I do have Usman winning by decision, and for anybody out there that wants to pick the winner and the way it ends and the round that it ends in, obviously you can win Diamine clothing and Cell Saviors products. So make sure you get those picks in as quick as you can. But I'm going to lean towards Usman by decision in this one.
The exact same way, and I'll just say this. You talk about DDP. He is very unorthodox and kind of hard to predict. You know who else was unorthodox and herky-jerky? Colby Covington. And Kamaru Usman had Colby Covington's number not once but twice.
Yeah.
I bet Usman heavily at right around these same odds, plus 200 against Joaquin Buckley. I bet fight goes to decision pretty heavily. That was also plus money. Here we are, almost exactly a year later. Pat, give us the sign off, and let's go make some money tomorrow.
All right, MMA Mobsters, picking the winners again. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, and also remember to pick the winner of the main event, the name, how they win, what round, and we want to get you free products. And Joshua, thank you for working with me while I'm on the road. And Lee, thank you so much for everything. And everybody, thanks for watching.
Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Giving it all. Hey. Yeah. I'm giving it all I could give. Run up and taking my pick. Then bringing it back to the crib. Hey. Yeah. You know how it go. We finding the gold, the deeper we dig. So we just keep digging till we finally get it. Like fuck it, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Yeah. I gave you my word, don't break it for no one. You know I'ma keep what I said. Ready for war, I've been deep in the trance. Been jumping since I had them streaks in the bed. Ice in my body, I'm cold under pressure. Recovered like I had no heat in the vents. Shooting, I don't have a conscience. Too much to accomplish. You know I can't leave it to chance. Yeah. Throw it in the bag. Throw some dots, I'm Jackson Dart. I'm out of pocket playing tag. Catch me if you can. Empty out the mag. Took the lead, I run the track. And I'm never looking back. Do it for the moment, no way to see through the ceiling, put above us. Smoke is in the air, keep it heavy in abundance. When the dust settles, let's see who remains.